AI continues to redefine itself in corporate realms. This evident through market research, where it utilizes behavior technology to transform how businesses gather information. This, of course, saving companies the costs of market research, or from market research, rather. Joining us to delve into the advancement of AI and its impact on redefining market research in a business is Technology Correspondent for the Business Today, Mudiwa Gavaza. Mudiwa, always a pleasure. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Notan.
All right, Mudiwa, let's get into maybe market research and why it is important. Of course, we are living in an era where data is seen as gold.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how the two work together, I guess, to improve products and services.
I think that's the first realm, when it comes to this type of thing that we think about is the customer experience, the user experience. How is our platform? How did you find our product, rate our service? Those are the typical realms that we normally, find ourselves engaging with that type of feedback. But there's also internal processes, because what we've just described is an internal to external, type of function. You're a business, you have a customer, you engage with them. How did you find our product or service? But also internally, what is the mood of staff? How are people feeling about maybe some new system that's been, put into place? Is everyone, for a year-end party, or would you rather have that money going into bonuses or something? All of these different things benefit, from some type of they're going to call it a focus group, they're going to call it a market survey, they're going to call it engagement of some sort. And, these are the spaces that, AI is now starting to make an impact on.
Let's talk about exactly what AI is doing, the behavioral technology and the advancement of it, Mudiwa. You know that I am cautious by nature. And so let's talk about exactly what we're talking about when we think of the intervention of AI and behavioral technology. I think one of the articles that I read even spoke about psychology, which means that we're speaking about people's state of minds here.
Yep. So earlier this week, we published a very interesting podcast with a platform called Sense. They are Dublin-based, but, one of their big areas of focus is South Africa. They already have, they've been around for about 18 months, here, and they've actually gotten a couple of, bigger clients, if I remember correctly. We've got Pepcore, you've got Take a Lot, and I think it's Discovery, if I remember correctly, that are already making use of the technology. And basically, what the platform does, which I found very interesting, there's a term called, I'm hoping that I get it correct, but it should be multimodal AI, right? So up until now, when we're talking about generative AI, you're thinking about, you type an input, into a platform, and then it produces, something for you. Maybe it's text. Maybe it writes something for you, or it produces an image, or it produces video, right? But now, when we're talking about multimodal, we're talking about the input that you're putting in. We've been using a lot of typing, but now we need to be able to speak, to the AI. The AI needs to use cameras to look at you, and also use microphones to hear you. So in this particular case, with the Sense platform specifically, they're doing all of that. They've got all those sensors. So to maybe create a picture for you, right? You have a market survey of some sort. Let's say you're a customer of a telecoms network, and they need to get some customer feedback from you. So it sets up a session with you. You get there, and you are greeted by an avatar. It's a digital avatar.
Okay.
Digital avatar, because your camera and your microphone is on, it's analyzing your facial expression, it's analyzing what you're saying, it's analyzing your tone of voice, and it asks a series of questions to garner the feedback that the customer or the client is looking for. Now, this is where the psychology comes in. If it detects that maybe Nolutando is being a little bit guarded with her responses about a particular issue, it will find ways of asking and addressing the same issue again, but in a different way, until it gets to the truth, until it gets to the deeper truth that it's looking for. You're squinting your eyes.
I am, Mudiwa. I'm very uncomfortable. And, I was reading about this, and I thought, well, a big, and of course, an important aspect here is the fact that people need to be able to decide how much they want to share.
Yeah.
And while I can understand the absolute desire for truth and absolute data that is absolutely accurate from a business perspective, I'm wondering about just the infringement on my person and my ability to be guarded. And I could be, been trying to be guarded about the way in which an organization has treated me for very specific reasons, for very tactical reasons, and for very personal reasons. And so I'm wondering about the ethical consideration of this behavioral technology.
Well, from an organization point of view, they're trying to break down all of those barriers. The example that was given to us by Mike Abel, who's the chairman, of Sense, I thought this was a great example that he gave. He said that they had a certain large company, and that certain large company had done an internal survey of employees, and they found worker satisfaction to be very high. But they were fighting a high churn rate. So you can't have a high worker satisfaction, but people are leaving. So then they bring in, these guys to come and, use the technology. And, using the AI, they actually found that customer satisfaction was less than half of what it had been reported using the traditional means, right? And that's actually part of what's actually being sold here, because they're trying to sell it on a number of levels. Firstly, when you think about the way that telemarketers, the way that those types of people try to find you, they might call you right now. You're busy, you're working, or you're in between meetings, right? You're driving. I had an experience recently with one of the mobile operators. They were trying to get in touch with me for like 2 weeks, but they kept calling at the worst times, right? But now with something like this, because you've taken the human element out, you can go to it. Right, so you get to fill in your survey or whatever it is in your own time. And obviously, if it's, let's say, something that's internal, like what we're talking about, then it means that you're in a situation where you can do it anytime. And then the second thing that they talk about is the fact that because you're talking to a machine, chances are those unconscious biases that an employer would carry into such an interview, and the type of unconscious biases that an employee would carry into such a session, they're hoping to break some of those things down, because you look at it and you're like, I'm talking to a machine. After a while, this machine is adjusting, it's talking in the funny voice, and you're like, it's fine, I will say whatever my truth is going to be.
So, Mudiwa, one of the reasons, and I think we'll keep talking about AI and ethics, because a big thing is this isn't truth for truth's sake, it's truth for commercial reasons, which I think is something worth flagging. But yes, thank you for coming today, and we'll keep talking about issues of AI. That was Technology Correspondent for Business Day, Mudiwa Gavaza.